This week, I'm in Limpopo visiting Rudzani Sadiki. He is a sunflower farmer, almost 1,000 hectares under sunflower. Now, we all know the shortage in terms of sunflower oil throughout the world. I want to find out how he keeps his crops safe from pests and diseases and chat to him about a whole bunch of other things as well. So join me. How's it, Rudzani?
Hi, Tony. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Thank you. Welcome to Thornfell Farm.
Thank you so much for having us. I travel with a bit of coffee. Would you like some coffee? I brought some.
Thank you very much. We can have a hot coffee.
Perfect. So, Rudzani, at the age of 10, you were already rearing cattle. Tell me about that.
I grew up in a deep rural area where my grandmother, my parents were cattle farmers. I grew up looking after the cattle. So as a way to encourage me, they ended up giving me some few cattle. So that really motivated me to pursue agriculture at university.
So you're in university, you're doing agriculture, your life is set. You're going to be a farmer from that point. What did you do after that?
While I was still at high school, it never came to my mind that one day I will be a farmer. My father was working at Rudzani Hospital, and he really needed me to study anything related to health, and I was really not interested. I needed to do something, and farming came into my mind that let me study farming so that I can be a better farmer. So I studied agricultural management.
Farming is a very difficult thing. First of all, you have to get yourself on a piece of land. Talk to me about how you got onto this piece of land, over 1,200 hectares.
I've been farming since 2008. I've been trying to apply for a farm since 2009. The process was not so easy until my application was approved in 2016.
2016. So you're sitting here on a 30-year lease from the Department of Agriculture.
Yes.
But I'm sure you'd like to own the piece of land at the end of the day.
Yes, definitely. The department, it is indeed willing to offer those who are very much successful, serious in farming, to buy farms. So I'm hopeful that one day it will happen.
And that's key, that what you've just said there, those who are serious about farming, because it's not a joke, this.
Farming is not an easy game. You must be a born farmer so that you can make it, because it needs somebody who is willing to face different challenges. If you are a farmer, all the challenges, you will be able to come up with solutions very easy.
It's a tough thing, but you have the support of your wife and your two lovely kids. Although your son, I don't think he understands what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. My wife is my number one supporter. He's always there to support me with whatever that I needed to be the best farmer, even with a lot of admin works. She's playing a very big role. My kids are still very young. Yeah. They always say, yeah, we will make you proud. We will be the future farmers one day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So why did you choose this particular area that we're in?
The area that we are in, it's a grain belt. It's very good for the grains. You can be able to produce your sunflower, your yellow maize, your wheat, your sorghum. It has a very good rainfall, 550 to 600 millimeter per annum. The type of soil in this area is also very good because the whole farm where we are planting, it's 100% turf ground.
Tell me about the support from the other established farmers around yourself.
There is a farmers association in this area, which is called Samwerk Farmers Association. It's mostly white. I might be the only black farmer who is part of them. And what is good is they don't see me as a black farmer. They see me as one of their own. They see me as a commercial farmer. The other support which change this farming is support that is coming from the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Land Reform, the financial support through land development support, most of the infrastructure that you are seeing here through LDS support, all the mechanizations which are here, it is through the LDS support.
I mean, you're getting a lot of support from your farmers around you, as you say, but I know you've had a couple of interesting challenges. One of them was with an elephant. What happened there?
As a farmer, you will always face challenges on a daily basis. We had a problem with an elephant, which we were told that it was coming from Botswana, because from here to the border of Botswana is not far, it's about 70 kilometers away. That elephant was destroying the fences, the crops for weeks. Through the Farmers Association, I had to intervene, communicate with the relevant directorate to come and issue the permit so that we get rid of that elephant, because it was really giving a lot of problems. And the other challenges that we face when you plant, immediately when the sunflower germinates, we have a lot of guinea fowls which comes and eat all those crops just along the fence. So I lost about 80 hectares of sunflower crops. Then I had to replant it, that 80 hectares. Then we come up with a new strategy to deal with them, because sometimes we must learn to live with nature.
Yeah. You've also got chickens on your farm. Where's your chicken market?
The chicken market is the local community. The support is really, really very good. The local community is about 12 kilometers away from here. They come and buy, and we also deliver to them. Yes.
You've got sunflower, you've got cattle, and you've got chickens. You've also got sheep as well.
The Dopa sheep, yes.
All right, fantastic. Yes. With the sheep themselves, you're actually doing, research?
Yes, there are very few farmers in the area who are farming with Dopa sheep. When I do my feasibility study, they've been saying the area is not so good. I said, no, let me start by doing a trial. And I can say that the trial is very successful.
All right, Rudzani, I'm ready to go and see what's on your farm.
Yes, let's go and have a look.
100%, let's go. One of the key challenges that farmers face, of course, is pests and diseases. I want to speak to Rudzani and find out from him how he's managed to mitigate against those two challenges, and also find out from him why he's chosen to farm with sunflowers. So Rudzani, you used to plant wheat and then you moved to sunflower. Why?
It is also good to do crop rotation, but now what makes us change from wheat into sunflower is because of the price. The price of sunflower is actually very good. Normally before you plant, probably around June, you already know what are the prices, and you make an informed decision based on what are you going to get per hectare at the end of the day.
You must be smiling right now, because I know as a fact cooking oil has gone through the roof. Sunflower oil, that bodes well for you.
Definitely. Yeah. All the farmers who are producing sunflower are busy smiling. The prices are very good, as well as the crop, as you see, is also looking very good.
We are in the grain belt. Why is this area called the grain belt?
This is Limpopo. The grain belt stretches all the way from Maple Hall, Rutan, some part of Modimule area, Villa, coming to Dwalbom area into the Northwest Province. This area is really blessed with the good annual rainfall areas, average 550 to 600 millimeter per annum. And the condition of the soil is 100% turf ground, clay soil, which is very much good on the grains. These grains that we produce here, it doesn't need a lot of water, but there are some stages where definitely it needs a lot of water so that you can be able to produce a very good yield.
Of course, one of the biggest problems with sunflower is pests and diseases. What could possibly affect your sunflower crop, and how do you counteract that?
As you can see, the leaves on the sunflower because we got heavy rains. The crops were attacked by worms. Because the crop were already big, you can't spray with the tractor and the boom sprayer. So the only solution was to spray with an aeroplane. We hired the aeroplane to come and spray. Then within 2-3 hours, all the worms were dead.
Okay. Is that a normal occurrence, those worms?
It also happened last season. It's not all the years.
Yeah.
It varies. Last year, yes, we did have the challenge of the worms, but it didn't attack all the crops. It was actually half of the farm.
But you've still got cattle as well. Talk to me about your cattle.
I started the Nguni cattle, commercial cattle 5 years ago. They were actually performing very, very good. I started with about 50, so currently they were around 130, but I'm actually shifting from Nguni into the Bonsmara breed.
Why?
The Nguni cattle are very much good, very resistant on diseases. But if you want to go big, you want to make more money, the Bonsmara is a way to go because they are able to gain weight very fast in a short period of time.
Okay. Let me move back to the sunflower though. Your market for your sunflower.
Yes, the market is at Agrifield in Randfontein. Normally what happens with the market, you must commit certain hectareages, but you need to be very careful. Otherwise, if you overcommit, you will end up having to buy from somewhere, and that is not easy. You will even struggle to get those sunflower. What happens when the season starts? Just after sunflower emerges, we first finish planting. Then I work out on 300 kg per hectare, commit those tonnages. As when it rains and looking at the crop, how it performs, I then commit other hectareage. But so far, it is only 400 tons committed.
Okay, well, let's talk about the sunflower that we're seeing here. These ones, as you say, they're turning heads,
Yes.
almost ready for harvesting.
Harvest, yes.
But you still have a lot of hectareage right now, this very moment, that's ready for harvesting.
Yes.
And you're contracting some of your neighboring farmers to
Work with
assist you with that.
machines, yes.
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 Tell me about that.
Yes. To hire a combine harvester, you need to make arrangement with the owners of the machine in advance so that they put you on the list. Then you tell them when are you expecting to start harvesting and is how many hectares. And there is a fee which you must pay.
So it's a costly exercise, isn't it?
Yes, I've got a sunflower header. So we make a deal that I've got a sunflower header. You are coming with the machine. So let's go 50-50. So definitely it's going to cost.
Okay. Yeah, but from a planting exercise as well, I know you've got a precision tractor.
Yes.
In terms of implements. Tell me about that.
As you see the number of hectares, if you are just planting without GPS, it is going to be very much complicated and it's not going to look neat. One of the tractor, Messi Ferguson 6713R, so I fitted a Trimble GPS, which is actually amazing. It's not only working on planting, on the preparation of land, on spraying, you can use it. On planting, it can be able to tell how many hectares you have planted because I can be able to check on that screen. When I plant, I'm actually doing 5 hectares per hour.
Yeah.
So if I start in the morning until 7-8 o'clock, I can be able to do 70 hectares a day.
How much sunflower are you planting per hectare and why?
It varies in areas, but in this area, strictly we are doing 25,000 seeds per hectare because of the rainfall that we get. If we plant more, it's going to be overpopulated.
Rudzani, if I could give you 1 billion rand, anything you'd wish for, what would it be?
Commercial farming need big implements. I will buy a big combine harvester, big tractors, big planters, all the necessary implements for commercial farming, and start Bonsmaras, start bulls, because all those need a lot of money.
A considered and consistent approach to disease control and the precise use of technology have had visible results on Rudzani's farm. And with things as they are in the world right now, these sunflowers are worth gold. Welcome back to African Farming. Now, sunflowers have the ability to produce relatively consistent yields under low input conditions and despite adverse weather, making it an attractive option for farmers in dryland areas. Rudzani Sadiki's success with this crop is, of course, a living testimony. But for any farmer, protecting both crops and animals from diseases is crucial. As always, I've invited some agricultural gurus to share some of their insights and thoughts with us here on African Farming. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Karen Shacklock, thank you so much for joining us from AfriVet.
Hi, Tony. It's good to be back.
Good to have you with us. Pravin, are you well, sir?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me again.
Fantastic. And Dr. Mpho Maja, Director of Animal Health at the Department of Agriculture. Are you well, ma'am?
I am well, thank you.
Right. Let me start with you, Karen, because we have to focus on the actual diseases themselves. What are some of the more prevalent diseases affecting farmers in South Africa?
Gosh, Tony, our South African livestock farmers have a lot of diseases to contend with. We have those that are vector-borne, which means they're transmitted by parasites. So tick-borne diseases like redwater and gall sickness, other diseases that are transmitted by flies and midges. And then we have infectious diseases. That means they're transmitted from one animal to another. And some of those that we are dealing with at the moment include foot and mouth disease. We have brucellosis, which is a very important zoonotic disease, which means it can make people living in community with their animals or consuming the milk from animals, they can become infected as well. So we really have a barrage of diseases to deal with. Especially in summertime, our livestock farmers are challenged.
Okay, it sounds very scary there, Doctor. I mean, listening to what Karen is saying in terms of the variety of diseases that are out there, what is the Department of Agriculture doing maybe to inform farmers or maybe to assist farmers when it comes to some of these diseases?
Foot and mouth disease, like any other disease, requires our collective working together to managing and controlling it. What the department is currently doing, we have placed affected properties under quarantine. We are managing those and we are hoping to eradicate the disease in the next few months. We are vaccinating in Limpopo and in KZN to manage the disease in those communal areas.
Well, Doc, you're here at the behest of Vleis Central. Now, let's look at auction houses. How does a disease like foot and mouth affect auction houses?
Auction houses become our point of contact between different farm owners. That's where we trade, that's where there is a lot of exchange of genetic material as well as, unfortunately, infections. That is why there are protocols in place to manage and prevent that exchange of infections, foot and mouth disease being one of them. There are APEC rules, biosecurity rules, where we are encouraging buyers and sellers to be vigilant with what they are buying, demand an attestation. And the auction houses actually play a very critical role in that they need to inspect consignments that arrive at auctions, make sure that the animals are healthy, they are well identified, so that the seller has the confidence in what they are buying.
So, Karen, if I may come back to you, that's at an auction house. We're talking about auction houses there, but in order to contain such a disease such as foot and mouth, what does one need to do, or as a country we need to do? I mean, if it starts in Limpopo, how do we contain it there and so forth?
Foot and mouth is a tricky disease to contain, Tony, because sometimes, quite often, the animal does not display symptom of the disease. And the animals don't necessarily need to come in contact with each other for the virus to spread. So people can actually take the virus on their clothes, on implements, on vehicles from one place to another. So we really need to be really careful about biosecurity, as Dr. Maja mentioned. And in the face of an outbreak like we've experienced in the past few months, to not move animals around the country without clearance certificates, and to be careful of not transmitting disease from one farm to another, which may involve spraying down vehicles, changing clothes in between farm visits if you are working on farm, and just bearing in mind that this is a disease that can fly below the radar, and it has major economic impact for us as a country because it affects our exports.
Yeah. I mean, that's foot and mouth, Praveen, but, we can look at many other diseases when it comes to crops, isn't it?
100%, Tony. Plants under stress are very susceptible to diseases. A lot of them are preventable. Early identification of them. Have your spray program. Generally, what farmers do is at the beginning of their planting season, they know the spray program that they're going to use for that specific crop, sunflower included, of course. This year has been a peculiar one in that we've had a lot of farmers switch from maize to sunflower because of the rains that fell and the delay in the moving of the planting window. So you find that spray programs had to suddenly keep up with the new crop. But it's so important to make sure that you combat disease as much as possible. But again, keeping food safety in account, because those are always food crops that we're talking about. So making sure that you, in your food program, that's top of mind, making sure that you 100% guaranteeing the safety of the product leaving your farm. That's your responsibility as a farmer. There's a lot of advice out there, of course, from the chemical suppliers. So make sure you stick to that advice.
Now, combating the disease itself does not end at harvest, does it?
No, absolutely not. So what you find is that once harvesting is done, there's a lot of biomass that remains on the farm, and that becomes an attractive breeding ground for certain diseases as well. So one has to be careful not to neglect that part of it, because once you replant those fields, there's a good chance that some of those diseases may still lie there, and immediately upon emergence of a new crop, slight bit of distress, and immediately you've got a problem with disease again in that field. So it's important to make sure that before new planting's done, that there's field maintenance done insofar as spraying and disease control there as well.
Okay, let me get some last comments in. Doc, may I start with yourself as well? I mean, we all look to government for assistance, but everybody plays a part, isn't it?
We control diseases together better, and it is our collective responsibility to manage our individual flocks, individual herds, and that translates to the national herd being well managed.
And Karen, I'm sure you echo those thoughts or sentiments as well.
Absolutely, Tony. And always remember that biosecurity is of the utmost importance, especially in the face of disease outbreak.
Praveen, your last thoughts?
Yeah, certainly. Have your spraying program in place to combat diseases. If you're going to be switching to different crops, make sure that you adapt your spraying programs accordingly. But whatever you do, always be environmentally responsible at the same time.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating in this episode of African Farming.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks,
Great being
Tony.
here.
So you have it, some wise words and some wise advice coming through from our panel. And with necessary prevention and protection in place, we're holding thumbs for a bumper season for all of our farmers. And don't forget, you can engage with us on our social media platforms via #AfricanFarming. Find us on our website, africanfarming.com. And please remember, as the doctor echoed, we farm better together.